Welcome to the Under Construction Podcast with me, Martin Williams. Here we talk about how to build or rebuild your life one step at a time. Welcome to the Under Construction Podcast. My name is Martin Williams. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast. You may do so on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, and SoundCloud. All the links to the podcast can be found at guidedexpressions.com/podcast with an S. Today, the topic of the podcast is becoming comfortable in discomfort. Or I might call it finding comfort in discomfort. I'll figure it out. Anyway, I wanted to talk about this subject because I just been kind of going through some uncomfortable circumstances lately, and I wanted to share at least one of those experiences in hopes that it would help someone in a growing stage of their life, right? We're all familiar with the term growing pains, right? And it's a physiological term that, whenever a child is growing, they're going to experience some pains, because, your body is, basically growing to support, you and the more you grow, you're going to go through those times when, you get some aches, you get some, some pains, right? And, something that as a child, I didn't really think about, but, you get older and then you become a parent and, you see, your child growing up and, I know my daughter has been complaining about some growing pains, recently. So it's just, it's just a part of it, right? And, whether it's our body or, our mind or just our lives, anytime you go through growing pains, it's not going to be comfortable. It's not going to be comfortable, when you're, learning more things at work or, you're going through, a life situation where, you're trying to up level, right? You're trying to go from, maybe a 2-bedroom to a 3-bedroom, or you're trying to go from, having 5 clients to 10 clients, or you're trying to go from, having a job to having a job in a business, or whatever the case may be. Maybe you're trying to lose weight, maybe you're trying to get stronger, whatever the case may be. Anytime you're trying to make life changes, it's going to be a little uncomfortable, right? So at work, I've been working on this project where we are locking a study. Okay, so I'm in the realm of clinical research, and I do what's called clinical data management. So you're basically managing the data that comes from these studies, right? And depending on the study, it's a massive amount of data that you're managing and cleaning and getting ready to lock. And basically by locking a database, it means that no more data can be entered. And the sponsor, basically the company that's paying for the study, then takes the data and analyzes it and then produces usually a paper of some kind to support what was found in the study to have happened, in the hopes of selling a drug, right, or a treatment of some kind, right? That's a quick and dirty summary. So this is the first time that I've locked a study in this particular company, and the company that I work for is a very large company. It's one of the top 5 companies in the industry, right? So a lot of companies come to my company to do what I just described, right? Basically running a clinical trial in the hopes of winning, some kind of, FDA or whatever, another country award to sell a treatment, right? Or, to provide a treatment to a population of people. So we do a lot of that. We do a lot of studies. And so, I've been with the company for almost 2 years. I've done a startup and I've done maintenance, but I haven't done a closeout yet. And closing out, it's just a lot of work and it's a lot of paperwork. And I've had a lot of help. But even with the help, it's a lot. And, there's times when I've gotten into unfamiliar circumstances and, it's an opportunity to feel stress. It's an opportunity to feel anxiety because you don't want to fail. It's a high visibility project. You don't want your name associated with, well, he couldn't cut it. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't want that kind of pressure. But whenever you're moving into something you've never done before, there's always that opportunity where you're going to feel uncomfortable, right? And I really had to take a step back because, I've always, I wouldn't say always, but for a large part of my life, I struggled with anxiety, right? And, I didn't want to, I don't want to glorify it or anything like that, but, there's just times when, I would just freeze up. I would freeze up in situations that were unfamiliar because I didn't know what to do. Like, when you know what to do, it's easy. But when you don't know what to do, that's a time when, you feel like, well, I'm just not going to do anything so I don't mess up. And sometimes not doing anything is the worst thing you can do, right? And so in this particular situation, I didn't know what to do in one juncture because there were so many steps, but everything's not written down. Everything's not really laid out. So, I found myself constantly asking people, what do I do? And I could feel that they were getting a little annoyed with me, right? Almost as if like I'm supposed to know. But the problem is that this is the first time that I've been through it. So it just got to a point where it got too overwhelming. And, I'm just getting emails and I'm getting IMs like constantly. So I had to like go into, my closet and basically like just take a minute and, I meditated for like 10, 15 minutes and I got better. Like it got better. And, I was just able to finish the day and, just kind of slow things down for me. But in that moment, it was real. It was like a reality that, this situation was so uncomfortable that I could not function at that moment. I just couldn't. And so, why am I telling you this? Number one, anxiety is a common thing, right? It's not something, like I said, to glorify, but it's common. And don't feel bad that you have it, no matter what your age is, because I'm not 20. I'm not even 30. Like, I'm in my 40s now. Don't feel ashamed because you have bouts of anxiety. Definitely get help if it gets to be too much, which is something that I'm in the process of doing. But more so than that, it's understanding that if you're going to grow, if you want to grow in life, you're going to go through uncomfortable situations. And that instead of offering resistance, which is what I was doing basically, in my opinion, anxiety is basically resistance, right? I was resisting the situation because I didn't know what to do at the moment, right? I didn't know the next steps. It wasn't clear. So I resisted it. And in the midst of resisting it, the anxiety built up. And so what I had to learn from that for myself, is that in uncomfortable situations, you got to find comfort. You got to find comfort in discomfort. And in doing that, it's not so much about feeling comfortable about the situation, but feeling comfortable within yourself that you have what it takes to not only get through it, but get through it well. You don't have to have this doom and gloom outlook where, like me, I was envisioning the worst scenario instead of envisioning the best scenario. And when I started envisioning not only the study locking, but the study locking and people being happy with the results, my anxiety went down. Because all anxiety, or most of it, comes from negative expectations. When you expect a negative outcome, anxiety increases. And the more negative the outcome you expect, the more anxiety that you're likely going to have. And so instead of expecting, the worst outcome ever, instead of expecting, I'm just going to flame out, I'm going to flop out, why not expect it to go well? It takes the same amount of energy to expect good as it does to expect bad. So why not direct your energy into expecting the best outcome instead of the worst outcome? Because when you expect the best, I'm telling you, not only are you going to feel better, but when you feel better, you're going to perform better. It's very difficult to perform well when you feel lousy. But a lot of times we feel lousy because we're not controlling our thoughts. We're not controlling our feelings. So for me, that was the takeaway. I had to stop envisioning the worst possible scenario, the worst possible outcome. And I had to start envisioning, this is not only is this going to work, but the company's going to be happy, the sponsor's going to be happy, and I'm going to be happy. And I'm going to finish. And I'm going to finish well. And when you start thinking from that place, good things begin to happen. So hopefully that helps you. Hopefully, you got something out of it today. Thank you so much for listening to the Under Construction podcast. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share, and I'll talk to you soon. Don't forget to subscribe to the Under Construction podcast on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and SoundCloud. For more information on Guided Expressions courses and products, go to guidedexpressions.com/products.